Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, January 4th, and this is Morning Market Movers, where we do live analysis for day trading. My name is Todd Rich. I'm with Nadex. With me from Keep Trading Simple, Brian Caprice. We do have some hot spots in the markets that we want to talk about today. One, we've got oil moving. Uh, we had oil selling off going into the open yesterday, but the U.S. traders stepped in. We had a whole parabolic retracement and oil's done nothing but climb since then. We've got weakness in the yen. Got to take a look at what's going on in the yen. I think a lot of that is really around the rates in the U.S. Just becoming so favorable that we're seeing the yen get hammered and equities climbing up. The S&P hit all-time highs yesterday. We're looking to open green in the markets as well today. So we've got quite a bit to talk about. Before we jump into it, I do need to share this disclaimer. The trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for everyone. That any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. And this is an educational session. Please do not construe anything Brian or I say as a buy or sell recommendation. We are doing this for your education purposes. We can clearly see here from the chart the parabolic tracement in crude yesterday, meaning right at the U.S. Open for equities rally, and then it's just been climbing up. Now, we do have OPEC meeting all day today. In fact, if you want to pay attention, let me grab, here's I'm going to drop into the chat a link. There we go. For tracking today's events. But we do have OPEC. We're waiting to hear. I think the expectation is they're going to continue to pump out. I don't think they're changing what they're going to pump out. I think some people were concerned. It's probably not enough, which is why we're seeing oil rally. But we'll see what happens when OPEC speaks. We also have the ISM manufacturing PMI today at 10 a.m. Eastern. So we could see something in that could potentially be moving the markets. With that, Brian, I'm going to turn it over to you. Let's jump into the oil, and then let's talk about the yen. I mean, that certainly is kind of an interesting one, moving 1%, and then we'll run through the equities. I also want to remind everyone today we're doing the full blown webinar it's at noon Eastern. Yeah, at noon Eastern. Is that right?
Yeah, noon Eastern.
Yeah, it's all right. Noon Eastern. I just dropped. If you're not registered for that, I just dropped the link in for that. So while we do a quick 10-15 minute hit here, midday, Brian's going to go through all the markets. So be sure you're registered and join us. We do that every Tuesday. So I dropped that link in there. All right, Brian, I'm going to flip it over to you. Oil,
Yep.
yen, and equities.
Yeah, I was looking at a single day $10 billion profit erases the Turkish central bank losses. So it's amazing how magically New Year Turkey can create $10 billion for the profit. It's amazing how central banks can just do that, like on a drop of a dime.
Yikes.
Yeah, so far this morning, not really any blockbuster headlines out there. Obviously, the year is starting off strong. Yields in the U.S. is driving the yen just absolutely insane. You're seeing the dollar yen up 122, pound yen up 173. And again, that's 100% yen driven. This is not any type of, and again, Aussie yen is up the same, Euro yen is up the same as well. So big days worth of movement there. I would say things to look out for today. This is the first real set of news that we've had. We have ISM manufacturing PMI supposed to be down a little bit, and then obviously the JOLTS job openings. JOLTS is a weird one. It shows up as a high kind of impact. It kind of is, kind of isn't. It really depends if there's any other news today, and I think OPEC is going to be probably the big thing that we're looking at. A couple of other things that are kind of hovering that basically what's in store for 2022. They're talking about how basically the new year, what does the 2022 Fed look like? There's openings on there, and governors are being filled. There's something that I guess Liz Warren is getting her pick to put someone in there as a vice chair of supervision at the Federal Reserve. I think we're just creating things now. I'm not sure. I don't know, a chair of supervision. I don't think anybody. Kind of not familiar with that one, but yeah, I guess that they're putting more people in.
Although
But at the
Raskin
end,
is apparently more hawkish. So it's interesting
yeah,
that the Warren's putting in a hawk. So,
Yeah, well, yeah, he says they're giving progressive senators a policy and personnel win, which is about which they care deeply. He's also trying to avoid a 50-50 Senate fight on there. So, I don't know. It's an
but
interesting trend, but
they're giving if they're giving the progressive somebody, it's interesting that they would choose someone who's more conservative as their candidate, or that the person they're
yeah,
putting on. So maybe there is compromise happening somewhere in the powers that be. So you take it where
yeah,
you can get it, I guess.
yeah, and really, I mean, if you think about it, at the end of the day, too, I mean, if you want to check a box, sure, but I mean, can you tell me who the last vice chair of supervision of the Federal Reserve was?
I think, is this the first one ever?
Could be.
It could be.
I believe I know that they were definitely adding pieces of the government, but the question is, will she really have much of an impact? No, I think the three open slots on the 7 seat Federal Reserve Board opening is probably more important, plus the two permanent heads of the Fed banks,
Yeah.
because they're the ones that vote on the interest rates.
Right.
Um,
Right. Right.
and like I said, the way that it's looking right now, inflation is obviously, and it says over to here, inflation is really, going to remain the key story. It's a big, big deal. Um, we know kind of how this goes. The Fed is, looking at numbers. The Fed basically votes on themselves. It's not something that the general public votes for. Politicians, on the other hand, when things like inflation are running at 39-year highs, they need to get the votes. So again,
Yeah.
we know how politicians work. They're going to blame everybody. It's the Fed's fault. And I think if
Of
they attack the
course.
Fed, it'll be the same thing that President Trump dealt with. The Fed will kind of ruffle their feathers up and be like, "No, we're doing it our way." So it's
Yeah.
a very interesting game. Like you said, if you blame them, the Fed doesn't have to listen. They are not really regulated. So it's a lot of people don't really understand what the Federal Reserve really is.
It's
Um,
independent. Right. So.
yeah, it was independent for a reason, and
Oh, we did.
they're trying to.
It's not a made-up position, by the way. Apparently, we did have a vice chairman of supervision.
We did.
So
Okay, there you
thank
go.
you for that. This
Yeah,
is a
see,
Jeopardy question. Good
couldn't
call.
tell you. Couldn't tell you again how much, how important was the position, actually the position. So I don't know.
Uh,
I mean, Quarles, I know the name, but was he really a player?
uh,
And again, just think about it. A lot of the things, the appointments we've seen so far. I mean, if you think about who Yellen replaced. When that guy talked, it was considered a market mover. Yellen is now
yeah.
considered a red release, and we don't even hear when she talks anymore. So, appointments for the fact of checking a box, the market doesn't care. So, guys, at the end of the day, it really matters what the market's opinion is and where it's going if you're going to make money in the market. So I think the important things today is obviously with OPEC speaking, that's going to be a big deal. They're
And let's
talking
look at this
about
oil
whether there's going to
chart.
be production cuts. Whether there's going to, I really, my take on this is, and again, I don't have a crystal ball. I think OPEC is going to do absolutely nothing. I'll tell you right now, OPEC was probably not super happy. They were really really excited when Biden picked up the phone and says you need to produce more oil. They loved that. But then when
Yeah.
Biden released 50 million barrels and it crashed oil down into the 60s, OPEC was like, no. So I don't think OPEC's going to do us any favors. I don't think they're going to suddenly be like, we're releasing more oil. Um, Oil is, for the most part, yesterday was the kind of the reverse that we talked about. We had a down day, right, in the European market. And I mentioned that this could be us setting up for longs in oil. I didn't expect it to be this violent of a retrace, and I thought it may come in actually today. It literally, as soon as the U.S. trader stepped in at 9 o'clock, it was off to the races, and we erased all the gains back up to that 76 mark. Now we're above the 77 mark now. We have this entire area up here. It would drag for me. This entire area up here, we had some sellers coming in here, and that's kind of where we're at right now. A little bit above that, and even a little bit higher, about 77.33. Really, until we get up to 77.93, we don't really have, and again, that's a higher time frame zone. There's not really a great area where I'd be like, hey, sell it from there. That's wonderful. And again, with OPEC saying what they're saying, I just, you know, as soon as there was any type of increase, the price collapse. And OPEC's mission and what they say that their goal is to stabilize prices in oil, which kind of makes a sense. Yeah, I mean, you don't want a volatile market that's up, and then down $20 in 2 weeks. It is kind of hard to play catch up with that. But I do think with everything that's happened in the last month, with still a lot of the unknowns from Omicron, Todd, I didn't send this to you yet, but there is now a new variant of the
I
story that
knew
came
it.
out. It doesn't have it. It's called B.142 something something something. It does not have a Greek letter yet. But what I thought was interesting is, and again, I have to look at my phone for it. It said that they are, when they look at it versus Omicron, it has, I think it's 43 mutations, and 37 deletions. And I was like, wait,
Huh.
what?
That's a new
So
disease.
yeah, so there's a new one. There's a small outbreak in France. They said they think it's from Cameroon origin. I don't know how they figured that out, but this goes to show you again, there's still some uncertainty out there. So I believe that OPEC is going to be like, listen, we don't know what's going to happen, right?
Right.
There's still so
Of
many
course.
unknowns. We're going to stay on track. We see demand being the exact same that it is.
Yeah.
And we know what it was like before, Christmas. And we kept seeing, we've seen supplies go down again and again and again. I think 3 weeks in a row we've been down on supply lower than the forecast. I don't know that I would expect that to change, especially with all the cancellations over the Christmas holiday with flights. Think about it. When you're traveling, you're visiting family, you don't drive as much. When you're stuck at home, angry that you didn't fly anywhere, you're probably going out and trying to do other things, and now you're driving more than what you thought. So it's probably, it's in the expectation, but I don't think oil is going to help us out a ton today, or OPEC's going to help us out. The API number later on today is going to be pretty important for tomorrow's inventory report. Remember, the last
Right.
couple of weeks as well, when we've had the oil inventory report, it's been low volume trading because it's been December. It's
Everyone's
January.
back.
It's
Yeah.
everybody's back. So there can be some really big movement. And remember, a typical move on in the morning is about, or for on a inventory morning is about $1.30 to $1.60 is what the move typically will generate, not including what happens beforehand. Now you can see right here. I mean, we're spiking. I mean, just yesterday from top to bottom, that's a $2.15 move. So the volatility is back in. OPEC is loving this. Trust me, if they get even higher, they're not going to complain at all if it goes above 80. And the only thing helping us right now is at least the East Coast is kind of bogged down with some snow. I know Maryland. I was just out. I dropped my mom to the airport this morning, and the roads were still bad. It's one of those days where the kids had off today, and I was like, "What?" But it's justified. I couldn't believe how bad the roads were, and I got trees bent over because of the snow. So there will be a little bit of a crunch, but I think
Other
tomorrow's going to
than
be amazing
the
oil play.
levels up above, are there any? I mean, it looks like sellers do step in right around here,
Yeah,
right around 77.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, they're in this area, but they're smaller zones. And the problem that I have with them is these zones are all created between 11 o'clock and basically 11 p.m. I'm sorry, 11 a.m. and about 6 p.m. on December 30th.
yeah,
Not the largest trading day. And again, a lot of this when we're looking for
fair.
reversals is generated from institutional size orders. There wasn't a lot of institutional orders creating
Yep.
levels on December 30th after the oil market closed. So it's one of those things as the year is now progressing, our new levels are being built. These are older, higher time frame levels. So they're kind of on the radar for me. And again, what we've seen typically and what is a normal process is when the US trader steps in, that's where the oil surge comes because it's, again, it's an oil-based commodity or it's a US based commodity. So or US user commodity, right? We have plenty that we produce, but again, typically more bullish. And again, natural gas is the same situation. It's over double today. It's up 215 versus 1.13. So I think today look for pullbacks unless OPEC says, yeah, we're going to increase supply because demand is much higher than expected. I don't know. They're going to
Uh,
say that, but if they do, watch it come down, and I think it stops at 74.50. I don't think we go much lower than
yeah,
that.
unfortunately,
But today, I would.
yeah,
Go ahead.
pay attention. I doubt that that's something that OPEC would say. That would be a shock to the markets, that they're going
Mm,
to pump out more supply. So
yeah,
definitely be on alert because could they?
yeah,
They certainly could.
yeah.
Let's jump over to because we talked about the yen, and I know that we got to keep rolling here this
hmm
morning. The yen getting absolutely hammered.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, right now it's a yield story. Basically, there's a nice little story out there. It's on Macro Market talking about rising U.S. yields push yen to a new 5-year low. And again, this is kind of beginning of the year. You typically see this one. It doesn't matter which one we look at. I mean, you can see this is what we're looking at 115. We're at 160. I mean, this is what we saw in the last. This is a 15-minute chart. Let me bring this back. This is what we've seen really in the last 24. Actually, not even 24 hours. This was last night at like 10 p.m. It just has been skyrocketing. Dollar yen, and again, finding levels above this. I don't think the top has been put in yet. I think we go higher, so I don't really have a reversal level here. Pound yen, we're kind of in a level right now. It's been really, I mean, it's been going crazy. The UK Open started right there. You can see really where the momentum stepped in and the power started to drive higher. I do think there'll be some profit taking, but again, with the US trader coming in, looking at what we have going on with bonds is looking to kind of push down again. There will be some profit taking, but the biggest question is it worth stepping in right now? I mean, this is a level. You can see that the last time the price was up at 157.05, it made an attempt, right? It got forced down, forced down. So we're in the right level. The question is the U.S. trader going to be where the profit taking comes in or not? And again, I do think we have more yen weakness today. It's not like this is not an extreme level. We are kind of higher up, but we're not quite at an extreme level yet. And we're kind of hitting it right now. And the U.S. trader is
And
just starting to come online. Again, it'll be more
it,
of kind of a bottom and we
flip
continue
over to
here.
the dollar yen for me though, just for a second. I mean, this is
Mhm,
this is crazy. The dollar yen, we're now up at a level. I mean, we're now above 116.
mhm.
Uh,
116,
the
26.
Yeah, the dollar yen hasn't been. I mean, this is above 2019 levels.
Um, yeah, the last time we were here was 2017.
2017. I mean, we got to go back. I mean, so I'm
Yeah.
just trying to put it in perspective for people to understand, for everyone to understand. I mean, the U.S. The dollar yen pair, uh, we are going back years to
Mhm.
where the dollar was this strong against the yen. I mean, the yen is really getting decimated. And you're right. I don't know where the top is going to be on this one.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, I have big. I mean, on a weekly chart, again, we're a little ways away from it now. 117.87, so about 150 pips away. It's up 95 today, so about 150 pips away is the last time on a weekly base level we had really huge sellers coming in. Actually, 116.88. So we're kind of get up there on a weekly level. And people look at this as like, oh my God, is Japan sinking? No, I mean, Japan absolutely loves this. This is the best case scenario for Japan. They are happy about this because remember, Japan is an export based nation. They need their currency to be weak. So people buy stuff. If everything is so cheap for us to buy it from Japan, it's going to stimulate the heck out of their economy. This is absolutely perfect. Japan loves this. So again, it's not really necessarily a negative thing, but does provide some good opportunity out there. And there will be reversals, but like I said, there's a weekly level based about 100 pips away from where we are, at least in the yen right now. And all of them have that. Again, these levels are old. They don't go anywhere. And remember, when we're talking about something like currencies and oh my God, it's 2016. Remember, currencies are different than stocks. The situation for stocks changes. It seems like almost on a daily basis, right? With technology, is Apple as big as it was? If you look at the biggest stock movers from 10 years ago, they're not the same controllers right now, or even 20 years ago, right? I mean, like, where was Tesla 20 years ago? Trick question. But currencies is different. There is a long established relationship. The dollar yen is nothing new. All these things, this is nothing new. They know what it's like at different levels. The Japanese bank will intervene all the time. Totally common. So this is not Japan sinking. This is not the end of the Japanese empire, guys. This is just opportunity for us. And when you're looking at this again, are we high on the what I would call high on the curve? Yeah, absolutely. We're on the higher side of things. It's been really since February of 21, January of 21. It's kind of pushed its way back up again. What that means is there will be opportunity in the other direction. All the people, all the banks, and all the institutions that take long-term positions that were long, they eventually want to take profit as well. Being up in levels where we see this is how we grab them. So,
yep.
everything comes back again. This is the cycle of the market, up and down and up and down. And this is what currencies is known for, long trending markets like this. So, and like I said, this is on a weekly basis. The pound, you could say the same exact thing. The last time we were at these levels in the pound was 2018. But can it go higher? Yeah. It can
Yeah.
go all the way up into the 197 mark, and that was 2015 timeframe. So, is there still more room to run? Absolutely. Euro yen, kind of the same thing. So, they're all in similar places. This is where multiple time frame analysis comes in. You got to be looking to see what your current trends are, where it all is in the overall trend. And again, the style and type of trader you are is what dictates what you're going to look at. I look at 30s because on an intraday basis, what this program is for to find hot opportunities for you guys, I'm looking for things on smaller levels. I may have to go back really far for it.
Yeah.
And the farther I go back, a 5 minute or 15 level may not be as strong. But I'll tell you right now, those 4 hour and daily levels, what I'm looking at is my upper time frame right now, those absolutely last for a long time because that's what the big banks and institutions are looking for. And I don't care who's going to step in and sell it here. Just know that it's happened in the past. And if there was nobody there, if there was nobody selling it at that level, price wouldn't have stopped there last time. Price would have continued higher to find sellers. So that's why, I'm a supply and demand based trader. I
Yeah.
think we should touch on equities real
Yeah, let's
fast and then
touch on
gold.
equities and let's lead off with the S&P first, and we could definitely touch
Yeah.
on the other equities because it did hit all-time highs yesterday, and we
Yeah.
are
So
trying to
I
look
mean,
still in the green.
VIX is continuing to drive down again. Like I said, there's not any major headlines. We kind of have quasi world peace, right? The White House finally came out with our statement. China wanted to beat us to it, and today we have the White House statement about nuclear weapons. Like, no, we're all on the same page. They're bad. Well, here we go. OPEC agrees to stick to existing policy with 400. So yeah, OPEC did nothing. So yeah, it's kind of like they were listening to the program, and kind of expected that. But VIX should be dropping down. We've had 3-4 weeks now. We're not seeing spikes. Omicron is not the end of the end of the world at this point. It seems like. Obviously, we're breaking records every day on new positive cases, but we're not seeing the death totals go up to the same type of all-time high. So that's always a good thing. With everybody buying back in the market, we talked about yesterday was going to be a good day in the markets. Why? Everybody's buying new positions, first trading day of the year. Today is really not much different. I mean, you guys can see Tesla launched it through yesterday, and it's pulling back a little bit, but what's changed yesterday to today? Nothing. I mean, Apple had some good news. Apple, same thing, driving higher. So ES being the first one yesterday, and I'll drop this down to a
4,800.
15-minute.
I mean, I think
Yeah,
we've got this. We'll see it hold
they're all
4,800.
at psychological levels right now.
Yeah,
There was a nice little trade set up, and I was talking to a student yesterday about this, and we mentioned that, hey, listen, the 50% fib retracement is an important level. And again, a lot of fib, and this is why you guys have to actually analyze the charts and not just take things blindly. You got to understand the strategies. All the guys that got short on the 50% retracement got stopped out at the 61.8 yesterday. But what did it do? Remember, we talk about common reversal times. Guess when the reversal happened? This red candle, the reversal candle, is at
10:30.
10:30.
I
So
didn't even have to
had
look.
you used had you used a short duration Nadex contract and done a 10 to 12, I'm going to draw this out real quick. This green right here is the 10, right? There's your 10 and there's your 12. Look how much movement happened in there. If you would use a 10 to 12 binary at the 10:30 reversal, knowing that we were in kind of a fib pullback, right? I mean, we're at the 50, it's kind of the 61. They both can work, right? Look how much movement in there. Very, very fast trade. It opened and it dropped 23.5, 23 and a half points in a 2-hour window. Again, why you got to love binaries, right? You got to love them in their shorter duration. Now, what do we do with it today? Again, we broken through 4,800. Again, it's a new high. There's not really any negative news. OPEC is continuing on the way. They can say what they want to say. We're pulling back, and the question is, do we break through higher? There's no real true sell levels. I mean, you could say there's a little level there. Yeah, but that was a level created by the Europeans at 5:30 at their reversal time. You expect to see that, and now we've pulled back into a level of basing lower. Question is, in the next really 20-something minutes, do we pull up, down enough, or are we going to start stabilizing here to drive higher? I think, right now, this is the second strongest behind the Dow. I think, with what we've seen, with the headlines we're seeing today, depending, especially with the JOLTS numbers, if this, if people are still hiring and manufacturing is good, there's no reason not to be able to grab a pullback and look for this to continue higher. And again, because we don't really have the benefit of seeing where sellers are above, now is when you can use some cool things with fibs, right? You can start using fib extensions and pick targets to the top side for longs. Okay, so some cool stuff you can do with ES. NQ looks very, very similar. Again, 16,500. You can see it base, 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 base. It's pulling around. I think it has the ability to go higher. The next big psychological level will be 16,600. You would think that is really, really far away on this chart, but it's right there.
Yeah.
Right. So we are definitely within striking distance. And you're like, it's only 100 points. Yeah, I can move that today. I think that's decent. And really on the downside, I would say this one actually has pretty decent levels of buyers coming in. I mean, you have a great level in here, just a little bit below that. You got some nice little buying in there. So there are some areas if the market starts to pull back a little bit. But again, this is day two. Nothing really negative out there. Tesla, Apple, great days yesterday. People are going to want to build on that. And then Dow, kind of the same thing. Dow is not even pulling back. Dow is at the high right now, above 36,600. So, Dow is continuing to push as well. And that one had that same kind of tricky move yesterday where anybody that got in for the 50 were like, yeah. And they came down. And then at 12 o'clock, it blew through the top. So, again, it's about picking the right contract.
I'm going to throw one last question at you because we've gone long today, but it was the first. I mean, today is really the first, what I'm going to call real trading day of the year. A lot of people were still on holiday yesterday. So today was worth going the extra time. We do know that tomorrow the FOMC is going to be releasing those minutes in the afternoon. I think that's, and we did get a question, is there a particular FX pair that you would want to be looking at going into that? I think we might cover that tomorrow. But is there anything, because we'll want to see what's happened and what's transpired, particularly
Yeah.
with the yen doing what it's doing, what else is there anything else we should be looking at?
Yeah, I mean, right now the sentiment is that we have to raise interest rates. I mean, it's interest rate. I mean, everything is inflation and interest rates right now.
So
So as far as which
anything
pair is going to
dollar.
be best, yeah, anything dollar based is going to be fine. Everybody would automatically say dollar yen. Dollar yen, yeah, kind of. But I would be careful with the dollar yen because remember, the yen is a proxy for what happens in the overall stock market. Raising interest rates is not good. And again, the market has really priced a lot of that in. But if they mention something, like I said, I don't think the market believes it yet. Everybody's definitely in for one. Don't be surprised if they send a two in, a double. The market's has not priced the double in yet. So as soon as people start kind of thinking about that double, that will mess
We
that
could
around. The
see.
easy ones would be the easy ones would be euro dollar, pound dollar.
Yeah.
The way to play it is going to be see what the Europeans do with it before FOMC in the morning. If they, again, look at the euro, and this is a little bit more advanced. Look at the euro pound, see what's going on right now. The pound is dominating right now. So if a European trader shoots something like, if they're shooting the dollar really weak ahead of time, preparing for strong, you need to figure out which one of these two is going to be the stronger pair to play it against, or vice versa. So you really kind of need to look at the euro pound tomorrow, figure out who's stronger or weaker, what the current trend is in the European market, see what they did with the euro dollar, pound dollar, and then again, wherever they drive it, look for the reversal of it tomorrow. Like I said, everybody's expecting a strong dollar statement. If they're a little bit on the weaker side because of Omicron, that will put weakness. But again, the market is already priced in strong.
Yeah.
So anybody that's like strong statement buy,
Yeah.
could get burned really bad tomorrow.
But we'll definitely take a peek at that tomorrow morning, and we'll talk about that because those minutes release doesn't come
It's too
out
far.
until
It's too far away right now to
right,
really
and
kind of see what
it's
the
2 p.m.
does.
tomorrow. But we will take a peek at that. With that, for today at least, any questions for Nadex, please email us customerservice@nadex.com. You can certainly email Brian as well, support@keeptradingsimple.com. What did we talk about today? One, we got oil, OPEC, it just came out. They're not changing anything. In fact, I didn't even
we
look
didn't think
with
they
the
were going
oil.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, the oil did oil make a move much at all? I should have looked at the
It
oil
pulled down
chart.
a little bit. I mean, yeah, it dropped down a little bit as a little bit of a pullback. And again, if you think about it, we're not changing it at all, and they pulled down.
Yeah.
You know.
All right.
So
When they,
I think at this point it's kind of like, oh, they're going to say something. No, and it's just going to, like I said, I think this
so
is more basically people clearing the market before the U.S. trader gets in. So
I would say so too. We talked quite a bit about that yen weakness. Uh, Again, not necessarily bad for Japan, who wants to export stuff, but definitely seeing some severe weakness in the yen. I mean, going back to levels we haven't seen since 2017. And then equities, all looking to open in the green this morning. It's going to be an exciting day. We got plenty. We got that manufacturing PMI at 10 a.m. So keep an eye out for that. Brian and I will be back tomorrow morning. So thank you everyone for joining us, and good luck in the markets. We'll catch you tomorrow.